So, okay, I know this is like a tick rant thing, but it's not really a rant. I'm just throwing it in with my rant section because, well, I got nowhere else to put it, and I don't really intend to make a lot of these. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it. Just think of it like tick rants question mark. That's probably what the thing's gonna say. And you can probably already read what the title says. YouTube famous. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure everyone's had this feeling before. I certainly have. Of wanting to be YouTube famous. And what I'm going to be talking about today is YouTube famous. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Should you or shouldn't you? Well, first most, apparently, and honestly, by the way YouTube's doing things, it makes sense. It's incredibly difficult now to become YouTube famous. I mean, seriously, the bigger your channel is, the higher up your videos are going to be. Isn't that like backwards here? Shouldn't it be the smaller channels should get priority on the videos that are shown, not the bigger ones? That kind of... I'm getting sidetracked here. That's not what I'm on about. I'm on about being YouTube famous, good or bad. Well, obviously I'm not YouTube famous, so I'm obviously an outsider looking in. I can see why people would want to become YouTube famous. Being YouTube famous will mean that odds are you'll be able to live off YouTube. There's a lot of people that do live off YouTube. Angry Joe, JonTron, Game Grumps and Ego Raptor, Ninja Sex Party, what's another one? Turtle Biscuit, Uberhax and Oba, PewDiePie's an obvious one. But is it really worth it? I mean, it's like... Maybe... How do I word this? I'm trying to say this from a neutral angle here. I mean, okay, let's ask the first question that people are probably asking me. Do I want to become YouTube famous? Yes, but I'm not going to be jumping over everything to become YouTube famous. And there's a reason why, which is kind of what I want to convey, because I do a couple of random Google searches like how to get popular on YouTube, because, you know, I don't exactly want to be YouTube famous. I'd appreciate more viewers. You know, that's it. So it's like, okay, how do I get more views? And pretty much all of them are just like, how to become YouTube famous, how to become YouTube famous, how to get more views to become YouTube famous. It's like, is it really like, is that like the dream thing? Because honestly, I don't think it is. As I said, I'd love to be YouTube famous, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, there's so many bad things that can happen with being YouTube famous that it also at the same time makes me not want to be YouTube famous. The first one is, of course, you're going to get people hating you. Let's face it, a lot of people hate PewDiePie. You know, there's a lot of people that despise him. And if people want my opinion on PewDiePie, I've got no opinion on him as a person. Online persona, I despise him, but as I said, as a, like, outside of online stuff, like as an ordinary guy, I have no opinion. And I will continue to have no opinion of him as a person until, well, if I ever talk to him. Which will be never, probably. So, yeah. The fact as well that makes people hate YouTube famous people is, of course, their fans. Let's face it. I'm going to be using PewDiePie as a massive example here because he is the most subscribed channel on YouTube. PewDiePie's fans are just honestly really fucking annoying because they go around and basically it's like, hey, have you heard of our Lord and Savior PewDiePie? Or if somebody plays a game before PewDiePie says, oh my god, you played a game before PewDiePie, you're the devil, blah blah blah. You know, it's stupid fans like that. It's like, if I were to become YouTube famous, I would feel really bad about myself if I had fans like that. Because I do these things, and I'm pretty sure every other person who's YouTube famous does this stuff for fun. They don't care if somebody else has done it a million bajillion times before. I mean, I am amazed that nobody has bit my head off because I've done Go-Go Nippon before. A lot of people. Like, I did Go-Go Nippon long before Game Grumps, long before, I think it was Force. I think it was Force. You know, these big YouTube channels did Go Nippon like the day it came out, and I'm just there with my plea for a year later. I'm surprised no one bit my head off about that, but you know, at this point, the big YouTube channels have now got their Go Nippon plays because of YouTube's crappy search function. They're going to be at the top. In fact, I'll probably check while I'm also talking about this. In fact, I'll look right now just to... Yeah. Let me see. Yep. Game Grumps, Game Grumps, Game Grumps, Game Grumps. I am no longer on the first page. It's all Game Grumps. Okay. So. Yeah, that's one thing which I can just be like, blah, about because, well... Yeah, let's just give the bigger ones even more stuff. So... Where are they going with this? Oh yeah! The whole YouTube famous good bad thing. So... I mean, that's a bad thing that I think. I mean, it's like... For me, I think the worst thing about being YouTube famous would just be the fans. And like, that's one of the things where it's like... One of the things that makes me not want to be YouTube famous. You know, honestly, listening to myself talk here, I just realized that I don't have a fucking clue what I'm on about. But I'm going to keep going anyway, because I don't know. Speaking my thoughts here, just in the moment. So, okay, let me go back to square one here. Let's just undo 8 minutes of talking. So it's like, okay, do people really want to be YouTube famous? A lot of people do. But I don't think people understand what it means to be YouTube famous. And as I said, I'm an outsider looking in, so not even I know. For all I know, for what I'm saying here could be like so far off. But I'm just assuming based on this. It's like, okay, yeah, sure. I'd love to be YouTube famous. I'd love to have that fan base. I'd love to be able to just live off YouTube. I'd love to be able to just sit at home all day, play games, make reviews and such, and upload them on YouTube and get paid for it in the end. But at the same time, it's the whole issue that these fans will... It's like, you will have so much expectations about you. Like, they'll expect you to be on top of everything. They'll expect, like, a video every single day. They'll expect... they'll get angry if they don't. They'll start, like, spamming you. You can't communicate with your viewers because it'll be gone in that flood of comments and spam and personal messages. I've sent private messages to plenty of people I'm fans of, like John Trot and such, and I haven't gotten a response back, but I figured as much because, well, the guy's got 800,000 subscribers. He must be getting, like, 200, 400 personal messages a day minimum. So it's like, in the end, YouTube famous, it's, as I said, I think the major downside is, like, one of the major upsides for people that want to be YouTube famous is the fans. But from the looks of things, the major downside of being YouTube famous is the fans. Because some of the obnoxious fans go about, they start trying to insult lesser channels, saying, oh, you're shit, this person did this better, so everyone should go watch him. And, that generates hate for the user. It's like, I'm pretty sure PewDiePie has not told a single fan to go to somebody's channel and just bomb it, saying, oh, he did his better. I'm pretty sure he never did that. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy. But his fans do it anyway, and that's generated a lot of hate for him. I'm pretty sure whenever people, like, do a review of something, they'll say, oh, God Icarus or JonTron did this better, or the Angry Video Game Nerd did this better, or, God forbid, the Irate Gamer did this better. You should go watch him. No, fuck this guy. I mean, it's like, I'm almost certain, like, say, with me, with my Bubsy 3D review, it's very JonTron, God Icarus, Angry Video Game Nerd inspired. So I'm almost certain that I'm probably that if it gets noticed, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, well, you're just copying JonTron and Cardiacrus and Angry Video Game now. You should die in hell. And, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that I know that these you know, AVGN, Cardiacrus, and JonTron, if I didn't know that these were actually generally nice guys who, you know, didn't do that crap, then, you know, I would probably hate them because I would assume, I don't know, it's just like, that's a problem. This is the entire point I'm trying to make. It's like, do you want to be YouTube famous? Well, if you do, be prepared for a lot of hate because you're fans. Okay, why do you want to be YouTube famous? For your fans? Well, guess what? That's what's going to make you hate being YouTube famous. The fans. Because of the simple fact that, I mean, this is actually turning into a rant video now. I'm actually ranting about, like, YouTube famous people's fans. Go figure. But, okay. It's like this. Do you guys want to be YouTube famous? Do I want to be YouTube famous? Yes, I'd love to be YouTube famous. You know, will you be happy being YouTube famous? For most of you, yes. For me, probably not, because then I'd have to deal with the hate and the fans and the fact that I won't have a close-knit community. I'll have just a multitude of people, like, constantly sending me messages, constantly sending me comments, expecting me to do this next, expecting me to do that next. I mean, I have a friend who is a medium weight, like, YouTube channel, and there are people expecting him to play these games all the time. People want me to play games and such, and it's like, you know, it's like your first... When you start getting people that want you to do things, or when you start getting a flood of comments, that's when you realize that this is going to get worse and worse the bigger you get. And that's like one of the reasons why I'm just sitting here. It's like, okay, I want to be YouTube famous, but will I regret it? At this point, the question is, will I regret it? I probably will. Because, well... Look at it this way. How many times have you seen, like, any big name YouTube channel respond to what you've said? I can answer that as probably never. Probably never. Because they can't. And I think that's a problem. If you're a YouTube user that wants a close-knit community, but you also want to become YouTube famous, well, you've got to get rid of one. You can't have a close-knit community and be YouTube famous at the same time. It just doesn't work. Well, after that complete freaking random stuff, yeah, I think I'm going to end it here because at this point I really don't know what the hell I'm on about. So I'll catch you guys next time.